Hello all, welcome to the TheMediaHoundsShow. I'm Andrew, but you can call me Hounds. Welcome back to our second attempt at a Pokemon Solo Challenge speedrun. That is a mouthful, I gotta work on that title. This time it's Butterfree. Okay, joking aside, today we are going to be attempting this run with a Butterfree. You know, the 1.1 meter tall, 32 kg butterfly Pokemon. I have to say, it's a pretty big butterfly. I'd hate to run into one in real life. Well, no, I'd hate to run into a real life butterfly at that size in real life. But are we really sure Butterfree is Butterfree? Okay, I'll stop. Also, feel free to pop in to our live streams on Twitch. You can interact, or you can lurk if you prefer. We have a pretty good little community going on there, and you're more than welcome to stop by. We'd love to hang out and chat about all sorts of nerdy stuff. If you like what you see here, feel free to subscribe. Keep up to date with our Pokemon challenge videos among all our other types of content here on the TheMediaHoundsShow YouTube channel. We're slowly moving towards our goal of uploading more regularly. But due to family and other reasons, my girlfriend's pregnant as of this recording, 33 weeks, so not long left to being a daddy for a second time. But yeah, feel free to keep up to date by hitting that subscribe button and the bell notification if you prefer. And even later down the line, if you don't feel like we're doing enough, just let us know and we'll try and do more. In this video, we will be giving it our best shot to complete our next challenge in Pokemon Red, where I only use one Butterfree and attempt to complete the game as quickly as possible with just that Pokemon. Pokédex number 12. Butterfree is the butterfly Pokemon, standing, as I said previously, at 1.1 meters, or about 3 feet 7 inches, and weighing in at a not so massive 32 kg, but that really makes it a true monster of a butterfly. Literally, the real life cabbage butterfly, which is kinda loosely based around Butterfree, literally only weighs about 0.3 grams and is only about 1.6 inches at best. Damn, bugs in the Pokemon world definitely be scary. Like, just imagine looking out your window into your garden, seeing child-sized butterflies and wasps with 12-inch stingers flying past. It might be a true bug catcher's paradise, but damn, that would be scary trying to get through all that. Butterfree unfortunately shares the all too common Generation 1 bug-type Pokemon issue of underwhelming stats and a very lacking move pool. Butterfree does tend to do pretty well early game due to access to Confusion, a pretty strong Psychic type attack for this point in the game. I know that 50 base power isn't that great, but with Psychic type and Butterfree's high special, it's going to get as far. It also gets access to the powder moves, but in Generation 1, Butterfree doesn't have compound eyes, so that means that we can't take advantage of the accuracy boost that would give us. Butterfree also doesn't learn any bug type attacks this generation, not counting String Shot since it doesn't damage, and in fact almost all the bug Pokemon in Generation 1 don't learn any bug type attacks except Beedrill, who gets 2, Twin Needle and Pin Missile. Heck, even freaking Jolteon gets access to Pin Missile. What the heck, Game Freak? At least in future generations, they've give bug-type Pokemon better movesets, and actually made them a bit more threatening, but that's 5 generations time. We're still in Generation 1. Being a bug-flying type Pokemon, Butterfree has 3 main weaknesses: Fire, Flying, and Rock. Fire and Flying type attacks do 2 times normal super effective damage, whereas Rock types do about 4 times damage. So they're going to be very dangerous early on. Unlike Squirtle, Butterfree's move pool isn't very versatile, mostly having access to only normal type attacks with a couple of really good psychic attacks like Psychic and Confusion, as well as the grass type attack, Mega Drain and Solar Beam. We'll definitely be considering them heavily in this run, although there's not that many moves I can actually choose from. I already have my final moveset in mind for Butterfree to ensure that we cover ourselves the best we can regardless of whatever we'll face along the way. This final moveset is Psychic, Mega Drain, Swift, and Toxic, but this is subject to change due to circumstances that Butterfree finds itself in, or the fact that I maybe misplay. I'll probably have to also consider other moves like Mimic and Double Team to increase Butterfree survivability, because some of these battles are definitely going to be testing. Takedown, Double Edge, and Hyper Beam may also need to be considered if I need extra physical attack power against Pokemon such as Alakazam, for example. In the early game, we'll be relying purely on Confusion and the powder moves to help us get past the first 3 gym leaders. Because I will be using the Universal Randomizer to ensure our starter Pokemon's Butterfree, we will not be starting from Caterpie and evolving it into Metapod then Butterfree. That means we do not actually have access to Tackle, String Shot, or Harden. But I'm sure we can do without that. So let's get around to talking about Butterfree's base stats. Being a fully evolved Pokemon, Butterfree's base stats are actually pretty good for the early game. Even its move pool and typing can't let it down with the stats being as they are. It has 60 in HP, 45 in attack, 50 in defense, 80 in special, and 70 in speed. That totals out to about 350 total base stats. Remember that special defense doesn't exist yet, so we're not actually taking it into consideration when we're talking about stats. Meaning it's pretty frail, but an okay special attacker, with all the other stats being kind of lackluster across the board, with only speed and special really doing any justice to Butterfree at this point. Now there are several rules that we'll be adhering to in order to ensure a fun challenge and experience for all. The rules themselves will be shown on screen. I'll not go over them too much in detail this time. I did it in Squirtle's video, and they should be in the description now for Squirtle's video, but they will also be in the description for this one and future videos. First rule is only Butterfree shall be used for all battles in Pokemon Red. Next rule is we'll be capturing free Pokemon for HM slaves, Spearow, Paris, and Lapras. The Spearow will be traded for Farfetch'd later. The third rule is we already have a set path pre-decided in the game for how I'm going to advance and move through everything to keep the challenge there, so we just don't over-level and wipe everything. Fourth rule, no healing. Fifth rule, no missing, no glitch outside of use before the Elite Four for elixirs and full restores if we do not have enough money, just to ensure a fair battle test for the Pokemon we're in question. And rule 6, no advantageous glitches should be activated, but stuff like the badge boost glitch that I have no control over is fair game. Rule 7, and the final rule I believe I have down, all data will be collected and will be put into a Excel sheet so we can visualize the data and so everyone else can see the data and judge for themselves and see what I've judged as the better Pokemon for solo runs in Pokemon Red. Speaking of which, I would also like to correct the record for our last run. While calculating the ELO score this time for Butterfree's performance, I'm not going to do any spoilers right now, I had to change the way I actually worked out how to do it, so in doing so I had to go back to Squirtle, rewatch that entire 7.5 hour video in its entirety and recalculate everything there. At the end screen, I will change the calculation we made last time for Squirtle before going on to Butterfree's explanation. As I said last time, if you think you can beat my time and level with your own Butterfree run, then feel free to join my Discord, links in the description, and send a link to your own attempt of the challenge, as we do have a Hall of Fame section where you can list your achievements on these challenge runs. I think it's about time we move on to see how well my Butterfree did in this Generation 1 Pokemon Red Pokemon Solo Challenge Speedrun. Jeez, I really do need a better name. If you can come up with one, leave it in the comments. How do you think Butterfree will do anyway? Will it be better than Beedrill whenever we finally get around to it? Also comment about that, let me know what you think. Is Beedrill better than Butterfree? Is Butterfree better than Beedrill? I'm sure you all have amazing opinions I would really like to read. After starting up the game and naming our character after one of my Twitch mods, Luna, my lovely girlfriend, we find out that Professor Oak has went and lost the Pokeball with Bulbasaur in it. That's clearly the canon story to why there's a random Butterfree on the table, and not the fact that we use the Pokemon Universal Randomizer, replacing Bulbasaur out of the game with a Butterfree. We chose to replace Bulbasaur so that our rival would pick Charmander, who'd eventually become a Charizard and easily overpower our massive pet Butterfly. Obviously for this run I'm picking Butterfree, although for future runs on the channel, feel free to drop a comment below or head over to our Discord, link's definitely in the description, I swear, to cast your vote on the next Pokemon we use in these runs, or maybe the next Twitch run we do with some of these Pokemon. Although saying that and digressing, we decided to name our Butterfree Lily, because it's a pretty name and Butterfree is a pretty butterfly. In future you can choose the nicknames as well in comments and on the Discord. Lily was just the name that Luna had picked herself there. So we basically get Lily the Butterfree at level 5. It has 21 HP, 10 attack, 11 defense, 12 speed and 13 special. Its only starting attack, yes, Butterfree will only have one starting attack until level 15 or 16, which is Confusion, 25 power point attack that is Psychic type. All in all, a pretty bog standard Butterfree. It's perfect for us. So we made sure he had Charmander. Unlike the Squirtle run, Butterfree starts off with a pretty decent attack, Confusion, which quickly wins us the match since our rival only has access to a basic Scratch and Growl attacks. We actually don't nab the typical level up from this fight, as we have a fully evolved Pokemon and its level curve is a little different, so we'll need to gather up a little bit more experience to reach the next level. Especially for the early game, this could be a bit of a slower start. As per the Squirtle run, and as I said there, Route 1 is rather uneventful. We get Professor Oak's parcel from the Pokemart and start travelling back to Palatown to drop it off to him, so we can actually progress for this game. Giving Professor Oak his parcel actually nets us his newest invention, the Pokédex. Our rival actually taunts us about telling his sister not to give us the time map, but we've never needed it to begin with, and we'll never need it really ever. We grab the Viridian City Hidden Potion for later and move on to Route 22 to do some training before we take on Rival Fight 1B. After reaching level 8, I get a little bored of the grind and assume that we're probably strong enough to take on our rival since we have access to Confusion, and Butterfree's special attack at this point is pretty damn good. The rival starts out with his level 9 Pidgey, a normal flying type Pokemon, but at this level it tends to love to abuse Sand Attack, my true sworn enemy of Generation 1. And a couple of Confusion attacks later actually takes down the Tiny Bird Pokemon, after the first attack crits of course. Our rival then sends out his level 8 Charmander, who also goes down rather easily to a few Confusions. It managed to put up a better fight than the Pidgey did at least, so at least that's something. I feel like if we approach this fight a level or two higher though, the battle would be far more consistent and quicker. So to anyone taking on this challenge, I do recommend being around level 10 just for a more consistent run. Either way, we have defeated the rival in the second rival fight, or rival 1B, depending on what you want to call it, at level 8, within the first 16 minutes, which is one level lower and half the time that we did it with Squirtle. So that's already starting out pretty strong for Butterfree. Moving on from all the different attempts, we head to Viridian Forest. We grab the hidden items, including the antidote at the front tree at the start. We fight a few different bug catchers along the way, showing them that our bug is clearly more superior to their bugs. We want to gain as much experience now for future battles. Many impressed bug catchers later, we finally make it out of the Viridian Forest and move on to Pewter City, the City of Stone. We immediately upon entering Pewter City heal up our Pokemon and make a beeline for Brock's gym. In the gym fight, we fight the trainer before Brock just to ensure we are at a good level for taking on Brack. I read Brack in the script. So we can actually take on Brock and believe it or not, we actually lose this fight against this trainer. I guess we're light years away from him. A quick rematch later, and we wipe the floor with the light year trainer and move on to Brock after a quick stop to the Pokemon Center just to ensure we don't relive the loss we experienced with the Squirtle run last time. So this battle starts off with Brock choosing his level 12 Geodude to battle against my level 12 Butterfree. Geodude surprisingly tanks a couple of confusion attacks before finally going down. As the Rock Gyarados comes out next, it immediately goes for a bite attack and then wipes out our Butterfree, as the only attack we actually know is a damaging one, so it actually survived enough hits to hit us back pretty hard. Yay! Realizing that I may have entered this battle somewhat unprepared, I head back to Viridian Forest so we can grind Butterfree up to level 13, so that we get a bit of an edge and we can actually hurt the Onix maybe faster. We also make sure to edge our experience up so that we level up in the middle of the fight, so we're at level 14 for Onix. Bursting through the gym doors as we approach Brock for our rematch, he starts out again with his Geodude, and Butterfree takes no time taking out the floating boulder. Next up is Brock's Rock Gyarados at level 14. It's pretty speedy, pretty defensive, but it actually sucks really badly. It's taking special attacks, so Confusion wipes the floor with it. We earn Brock's badge, the Boulder badge. This means we can actually use HM05 Flash outside of battles. It's probably a HM we'll never use, but another advantage to this badge is that it gives us a 12.5 increase to the Pokemon's attack stat. That might come in handy later, considering how low Butterfree's attack stat actually is. We also receive TM34 from Brock, which is Bite Attack, a move that makes the Pokemon stand still for about 2 or 3 turns by charging its energy. It depends really on speed for how many turns it takes. And then on the last turn of Bite, it hits the opponent back that's been attacking it for damage equal to 2-fold the damage it took altogether. And to be honest, this is actually a very handy TM for fighting Ghost-type Pokemon in Generation 1 due to mistakes in the programming. Who knows, we may have to consider this, using this attack if we can't learn any other damaging moves. And we'll definitely be considering this attack for maybe later runs where we maybe don't have access to fast move pools or super awesome special attacks. Before leaving Pewter City, we make sure to stock up on some Pokeballs so that we can catch a couple of necessary Pokemon that we need to progress through the game. Once got, we start making tracks towards Mt.Moon, fighting all the unskippable route trainers along the way. We do need as much experience as we can get. Misty Starmie Bubble Beam combination is going to be brutal. On the route heading towards Mt.Moon, we encounter a wild Spearow at level 6 and capture it. In Mt.Moon itself, we discover Paras at level 10 and we capture it. So now we have access to Dig and even Flash if we decide to go down that route, which is very unlikely. A quick heal in the Pokemon Center beforehand, and off to Mt.Moon we go again. In Mt.Moon, we make sure to also grab the rare candy in the hidden ether. There are about 12 obtainable rare candies in the game, with an additional rare candy being available after the Pokemon League in the post-game, as in Cerulean Cave. But we'll only be concentrating on collecting the first 12. After thwarting Team Rocket's plans in Mt.Moon, we arrive at what it seems like the most important choice of Generation 1 anyone can make past the starter Pokemon. The Dome Fossil or the Almighty Helix Fossil. Ultimately, I am unsure on what to pick, but go ahead and comment whatever you think I should have picked, as this time I go with the Almighty Helix Fossil. Praise be to Ammonite. We make it out of the cave and arrive in Cerulean City, where we heal up and we choose to take on Misty and both her gym trainers before going on to our arrival. The first trainer of the gym uses both a Horsey and a Shelter, pretty decent Pokemon, but Butterfree makes quick work of them as they're one's speedy and the other's physically defensive, but not specially. Goldeen, the Pokemon of the other trainer in front of Misty, is a Pokemon that knows Supersonic, and as many people know on Twitch, I hate the attacks Sand Attack, Supersonic, Confuser, and Hypnosis, or any sort of accuracy or status inflicting move, because it's super frustrating to take on when you're trying to beat the game as quickly as you can. We do manage to pull out the win against the Goldeen trainer though. We move on to Misty, who starts the battle off with her level 18 Staryu. Not really a threat, but it could overpower our frail Butterfree with a few tackle attacks if it chooses to go down that route. But I plan to stun it with Stun Spore so it can't attack us very much at this stage. We now have access to all our powder moves: Poison Powder, Sleep Powder, Stun Spore. After a couple of confusion attacks, Staryu goes down, Starmie comes out and we aim to paralyze it as well. But it quickly overpowers our bug as all our Supersonics miss as well. Yeah, right, here we go again. This time we start the battle off against Staryu with an all-out assault on confusions. Still at leveling up to 21 and replacing Sleep Powder with Supersonic, we stun the Starmie and start attacking it with Confusion rather than trying to Parafusion our way out of this battle. But a couple of Bubble Beams soak the wings of our Butterfly, and down goes Butterfree yet again. Yay! Good thing I'm doing Butterfree early, huh? This isn't good. We are only on the second gym battle, and we need to head back to the previous route to level up Butterfree a little to see if the extra levels will help us overpower the Starmie. I'd rather do this than move on to our rival, because I kinda want to stick to the order of the run I have set forward. You know what they say though, fourth time's a charm, right? At least, probably should say that now. We actually come up with a crazy idea to combat Starmie's overwhelming power though. I was joking earlier when I said maybe we could teach Butterfree TM34 Bide. I thought we would never have to use it, to be honest, until we were forced to by other, I don't want to use the word inferior, but Pokemon with lesser move pools. But, you know, we need to consider it. The Staryu part of the fights pretty much goes as it did every other time, a couple confusions after Stun Spore takes it down. Starmie is up next. We open the battle straight away with our Bite attack as Starmie bombards us with attacks, hitting us 3 times in a row, only to have the damage throw back at its face in twofold. Wait, does Starmie even have a face? I guess technically the jewel in the middle would be considered the face. Starfishes have a mouth at the back of them though, and even in... You know what, I'm thinking way too hard about a fictional alien starfish. With the Cascade Badge from Misty, all our Pokemon that we get, traded or not, up to level 30 will obey us. We also get TM11 Bubble Beam, which is actually kind of useless to us, and another quick heal at the Pokemon Center before our rival fight free. Yeah, let's hope that the Butterfree luck gets easier. The battle against our rival starts out with him sending out his now evolved Pidgeotto. I knew my best way to beat Pidgeotto quickly was just to come out swinging from the get-go. Pidgeotto misses most of its sand attacks as our giant butterfly messes with its mind using Confusion attack, taking it out quickly. Abra comes out and is somewhat of a special tank, since in this gen the special stat is actually the combination of both offense and defense. Poison Powder wears it down, slowly allowing us to preserve our power points for the rest of the battle because we only have Confusion to attack with. Rattata comes out and is quickly dealt with after a couple of confusion attacks. The Fire Trico is next out and tries to light our Butterfly on fire, but luckily our first confusion does massive damage, confusing the lizard, and somehow convinces it to punch itself in the face, taking itself out. After that we continue onwards, stealing the lunch money of a bunch of kids on the Nugget Bridge after defeating what seemed to be the stupidest Team Rocket member we've ever met, outright admitting to be Team Rocket when there's a police officer pretty close by. We head towards Bill of the Lighthouse, his house. That was a bit of a tongue twister. We discover that Bill of the Lighthouse is very into his cosplaying and At the minute is cosplaying his favorite Pokemon, and here on the MediaHoundsShow, we don't judge other people for their hobbies or interests, but we do recommend that you pursue them safely rather than being stuck, hoping that some random 10-year-old kid will stumble into your house at random and reverse the self-inflicted horrific experiment that was performed to combine human and Pokemon into a cosplay Pokemon. But damn, Bill, taking cosplay to the next level? Pretty impressive. Bill tries to bribe us into not telling others what happened by giving us some tickets for the SS Anne. Both is currently docked in Vermilion City. We'll be heading there next. Along the way to the coastal city, we also stop for a Team Rocket break-in and steal off the Team Rocket grunt what he stole from these innocent people, TM28 Tombstoner, and we teach that immediately to our Paris. We now have access to it, and it will allow us to traverse landscapes a bit quicker when we don't want to walk down flights of stairs. While in Vermilion City, we are given the bike voucher from the Pokemon fan club president, and we also decide to trade our Spearows for Dux the Farfetch. Prepare to see Dux the Farfetch a lot because he is probably the most useful Pokemon in all of Kanto for HMs. Now we go on to the SS Anne and take on the trainers that are currently aboard the ship, apparently all extremely rowdy and bored due to waiting for the ship to finish loading. To be honest, we only really need to enter one of the cabins this time because Butterfree cannot learn Body Slam. So we break into the room with an old man and a lady in it, and we steal their candy when they're not looking. To be honest, not much has really changed between this rival fight and the previous rival fight, except for his Rattata, Abra, and Fire Trico evolving into their respective next stages. Pidgeotto's still pretty annoying with Sand Attack. Raticate and Kadabra are probably way worse for us in this run than they ever were for Squirtle due to Butterfree's lower defense. But we hit them pretty hard and taking them out, and right here's the Fire Hazard. We enter this fight at level 29. The rival sends out his Pidgeotto. It is a 2-shot with Confusion. Raticate's surprisingly slower than us and goes down to another couple of Confusion attacks. Kadabra is up next. It has super high special and speed, but it too has only access to Confusion attacks, so I figure the best way to do consistent damage on it is with Poison Powder yet again, and then bombard it with Confusion attacks to keep chipping away the damage. Realizing I wasn't doing enough with Confusion, I switched up to Bide. Even though I was confused, I managed to hit it and take it out after charging up the couple of turns. Charmeleon is up next, and it can be a real pain in the ass to fight. It can actually do massive damage on us if we're not careful, especially since we only have 30 HP left after fighting the other 3 Pokemon. We managed to outspeed the Charmeleon and open the battle with a critical hit Confusion. Nice. We survived the initial Ember attack as well and managed to blast back with our second Confusion attack, wiping out the Fire Lizard completely. Now we're the Fire Hazard. We also helped some seasick old dog of a captain, and he pays us back by giving us our first HM disc, HM01 Cut, which we promptly teach to Dux the Farfetch so we can actually access LT.Surge's gym. We wave our goodbyes to the SS Anne as it sets sail, not knowing the true danger it's in. We know, we've seen the enemy. Probably should have told the captain when we were up there. Ah well. Inside the gym, we use this image here to help figure out the puzzle without having to waste too much time searching through this gym's trash and help them recycle. We'll never pause the timer here because technically this is part of the game and needs to be done to continue progressing, even if it is a buggy randomness. We still love Surge's gym. Against Surge, I'm actually kind of worried. My child-sized butterfly doesn't handle electrical shocks or bolts of any kind very well. We tried to take a crack at Surge once we get through this crazy gym puzzle. We take out the Voltorb in 3 Confusion attacks, Pikachu takes 2 confusion attacks but manages to paralyze us as we take it out after. Next up is the Raichu, and before it even attacks, I can already tell we've lost this run as T-Bolt zaps our Butterfly into submission. I'm worried about this run, guys. Like, that's 3 gyms in a row that's kind of been harder, probably harder than it should be. We tried this battle a few more times, only to keep experiencing the same thing over and over and over. Raichu's Thunderbolt's just too strong for Butterfree's frail wings. We eventually decide to use what rare candies we've managed to collect up to this point and level our Butterfree up to level 30. This still wasn't actually enough, so we actually took a step back and battled all the gym trainers, including a couple of normal trainers on the route to the right of Diglett Cave. We also did a little extra grinding in Diglett's Cave as well for good measure, and got Butterfree up to level 32, where it learns its final move, Psybeam. Yes, I did say final move at level 32. But Psybeam's such a good attack, it has to be worth it, right? So we return to the gym. This time we should hopefully be ready. Surge opens the battle with his Bomb Ball Pokemon as we take it out in 2 Psybeams. Pikachu's out next and goes down to a single Psybeam, meaning we aren't paralyzed going into this Raichu fight, which is a nice change. We get lucky and he doesn't Thunderbolt us in the first turn as Psybeam lands for massive damage. The second Psybeam lands and almost takes out the Raichu, as it clearly is only living on 1 HP. We manage to survive an actual Thunderbolt attack with 39 HP and even get paralyzed for all that, but we managed to fight through the paralysis and land our last Psybeam, taking out the neglected electric mouse Pokemon. Neglected because, you know, people always pick Pikachu over Raichu for the enemy. Heading back to Cerulean City, I do a little bit of spring cleaning of our backpack and get the $1 million Pokemon bicycle that with the bike voucher. I am getting massively tongue-tied here, guys. It's only like 2 o'clock in the morning. The route to the rock tunnel was rather uneventful, but we made a nice break. It made a nice break from the pressure that Surge and his Raichu had been putting on us. Because we didn't get HM05 Flash, we will be going in blind into rock tunnel, which is fine. I've played these games so much that I know its layout almost better than I know my own town. My biggest worry of Rock Tunnel is the Bomb Man himself, the guy with the Geodude and Graveler, I forget his name. Does he even have a name? In Generation 1, not really, but later gens I'm sure he does. He does like to make his own Pokemon blow up. Obviously his goal in the battling isn't to win, but to delay you, the player, as much as possible. After finally taking him out, moving past him, Butterfree makes the fight actually a breeze, because Geodude and Graveler don't have great special. We exit Rock Tunnel to arrive in Lavender Town. Sometime later we make it to Celadon City, the location of Erika's grass-type Pokemon gym. I get the feeling that this will be the first gym we may actually have an easy time against, considering most of her team is actually grass poison, giving us an advantage with our psychic type attacks. First things first though, we go up into the Celadon department store and buy a bottle of fresh water. We'll be saving that for later. We also visit the local celebrity who gives us HM02 Fly in order to keep her house location a secret. We're clearly going to be putting this up in some forums later. Now it's time for the Rocket Hideout. It's not actually that bad to get around this time, but the movement panels do get a bit frustrating when you're playing at faster speeds. We make sure to, while we are in here, to grab the rare candy off the floor, off the notorious crime grip. I'm sure this candy's fine, right? Like, I'm sure it's fine. We make sure to find the grunt with the lift key and proceed to kick his ass until he gives us the key. That was kind of easy. We make it to the secret lift, the secret basement lift, and take it to the bottom floor so we can have our meeting with the Pokemon Mafia boss, Giovanni. First we have to take out his 2 lackeys, which is pretty easy with Butterfree's Psybeam access. Giovanni starts out the battle with his Rock Gyarados. Great, another giant rock snake. We opened the battle with a Swift, so we can make sure that our first Psybeam that we use straight afterwards will put it down. I wasn't really confident that we might be able to take out Onix and Rhyhorn right away. Rhyhorn proves this fact as it comes out next and actually survives our initial Psybeam, getting off a Fury attack as we put it down pretty quick with a follow-up Psybeam. Lastly, Kangaskhan comes out, and this thing can take a beating, so the first thing I do is poison it with Poison Powder to slowly chip away at its health. And then we continue to bombard the Pokemon with our Psybeams to ensure that we get victory. Luckily, at the end of the battle, before the final blow, the Giovanni's AI locked itself into Rage, one of the worst moves of Generation 1. We pick up the Sylph Scope and dig our way through what seems like a lot of concrete and foundational structures that probably weren't that important to any building nearby. Right? I'm sure no structural damage will come from this. Next we head across to Saffron City, unlocking it so that we can go collect the TM29, I believe it is, for Psychic. So our Butterfree has the best attack you can possibly learn before taking on Erika. I'm kind of worried that Psybeam's just maybe not as powerful as it should be at this stage. Later on we'll find out that teaching attacks a little too early on is probably going to cost us later on in the long run. We head straight for the Ghost Tower to confront our rival, only to be utterly defeated by him, so instead we make our way to the 4th gym leader so we can get some more battle experience. Pushing our way past Master Roshi at the front door of this gym, we prune our way into the inner sanctum of this here indoor garden and defeat the first trainer with the Execute to make our way to challenge Erika. Unlike with Squirtle, this battle should be pretty easy for Butterfree, having access to the Psychic type attack Psybeam and Psychic. Although I believe I forgot Psybeam for Psychic, but it'll have the same result, only faster. Both her ace Pokemon, Victory Bell and Vileplume, are poison types, so they're super weak to Psychic. And Tangela, well, I don't think anyone's ever been worried about fighting a Tangela in Generation 1. First out is her Upside Down Banana Jamma, and 3 uses of Psybeam actually takes it out, but it does manage to poison us. This suits us fine, so we can actually not be stun spored and hacked to death with paralysis and bind from the Tangela. I know I did say Tangela isn't really a big threat, but if you're paralyzed going into that fight, bind is just excruciating to sit through. Tangela can't really touch as much, and we make quick work of it with Psybeam. Admittedly, I thought I'd already taught Psychic at this stage, but clearly looking back at the footage I didn't. Its bind attacks were definitely annoying to deal with, but nothing Butterfree couldn't handle at this stage. This left Erika with her last Pokemon, Vileplume. It tried to dance with its petals as we kept blasting it with our Psybeams for that sweet, super effective damage. A few hits of it is enough to take out and wilt the flower monster and earn us the Rainbow Badge. We also get given the TM for Mega Drain, which we promptly teach to Butterfree, building up on this epic foreshadowing that I taught attacks maybe a little too soon to Butterfree. But with Mega Drain we now have better type coverage and a way to heal ourselves if needed, since we don't have item access. We make our way back to the Ghost Tower to take on our rival again. Our rival threatens to make our Pokemon faint, or to be honest it feels like more of a death threat, but whatever. He has made some recent updates to his team, so he might actually manage to beat us again. Pidgeotto is up first, and it goes down to 2 Psybeams, feeling to blow us away with its Whirlwind attack, because this is Generation 1 and Whirlwind doesn't work like that, baby. It is unfortunate Whirlwind doesn't work like that, otherwise I would actually have taught Whirlwind and Toxic to my Butterfree, because why would I not poison and swap each of their Pokemon so they're coming out to constant chip damage? After Pidgeotto goes down, it seems like for some reason the rival has inexplicably replaced his Raticate. I wonder whatever happened to it. I'm sure it's fine, it's probably in the PC, right? Next up is his execute. Jesus, my autocorrect on this needs to be changed. Execute a collection of 6 eggs. No, seeds. No, definitely eggs. The Water Onyx comes out next. It's still as intimidating as ever, and it still has one of the best sprites of this generation. Unfortunately, due to how Generation 1 was put together, the Gyarados our rival has is actually using the default Gyarados starting moves rather than being treated like a Pokemon that evolved from a Magikarp. This means it has access to Hydro Pump and Dragon Rage from such an early level. The other latter of the rival's cheating. The Silver Spoon Connoisseur Kadabra comes out next. Like last time, this magician has learned some new tricks, but a single swift attack collides with the Pokemon, taking it out. And finally, here comes the rival starter Pokemon, Charmeleon. We are at level 38 at this point with Butterfree, so I'm not actually worried as we tank the Ember it tries to hit us with and blast the Charmeleon twice with our Psybeam attack, winning pretty handily. Invoking the powers of the Shadow Realm once again, like last time with Squirtle, we make our way to the top of this Tower of Death, making sure to grab the rare candy along the way. Before making our way to the top of the Ghost Tower, though, to deal with Team Rocket, who have Mr. Fuji held hostage, we are attacked by the spirit of Cubone dead mother Marowak, who has not yet passed on, but Butterfree makes pretty damn well sure that it does. We land save Mr. Fuji to learn that he may be a bigger monster in this world than any naturally existing Pokemon. Anyone that has ever seen Pokemon Origins or the first Pokemon movie will understand why that is. He gives us the Pokeflute. Figuring that we need more EXP before we do any other important battles, we make our way towards Snorlax, the slumbering giant. It's currently blocking our path, so we'd have to battle it anyway to progress. As the battle starts, we try hitting it with our most powerful attacks, only for it to immediately use Rest Attack and heal itself, prolonging this battle. This battle literally felt like it took forever, but eventually Snorlax went down because all it would do is try and rest, and eventually we got lucky. While navigating down the cycling road, we battle all the trainers we can actually find here, because Butterfree's really going to need all the EXP it can get for the late game. And also remembering to collect that hidden rare candy in the grass along the way. Along the way to Fuchsia City, we also remembered to teach Butterfree Psychic, which I had forgotten to do until this point. We get through the Safari Zone, collecting the Warden's Golden Teeth and HMO Free Surf all in one swoop. We also hold on to the HM for a bit longer until we can get Lapras and trade then the Golden Teeth for the HM04 Strength, which we'll also need for Lapras later as well. We arrive at the Ninja Gym, where none of the gym trainers seem to know what type of gym what type of Pokemon this gym actually uses. Several of the Ninja Jugglers, yep, that's apparently a thing, at least in this game, used Psychic type Pokemon, a couple used Poison type, and if I'm remembering correctly, somewhere in here uses the Ground type Pokemon Sandslash, for whatever reason. And then there's the gym leader himself. He uses poison Pokemon. Yes, technically in Pokemon Yellow, all his poison Pokemon are actually part bug type, so it has me wondering, is Koga like a part-time bug type Pokemon gym leader, and we just never realized it before? Or has he just happened to choose the poison type for this battle for us? It'll be a question definitely to ask once we get to Pokemon Yellow. After all, using a lot of bug type Pokemon is kind of his whole strategy, isn't it, really, in Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal? Like, it has me wondering, could he be just considered in Pokemon Yellow, since technically it's kind of canonical if you're running for the series of games. Maybe Koga's just a bug-type trainer. Anyways, we find our way to Koga's room because we are getting sidetracked again. Koga leads this battle with his level 37 Coughing, who has smoke screens, so this battle could become very annoying very quickly. Except for one thing, we have Psychic Attack, which ultimately one-shots the Coughing, the Muck, and the following Coughing. Very easily, I might add. Koga is already on his Wheezing, but it is surprisingly bulky enough to live our first Psychic Attack, which is kind of concerning because Weezing has an unhealthy interest in blowing itself up, which will cost us this victory. Luckily, Koga's perfect AI and its ultimate wisdom deemed using an X attack more practical than blowing up. So, luckily it did not self-destruct. If it had of, we would have lost, but this is how we wiped the floor with Weezing, using our following psychic attack and earning ourselves the 5th gym badge. We fly our way to Saffron City, arriving at the Sylph Company to learn that it has been invaded and taken over by Team Rocket, who are now holding the staff and company leader hostage, as they're clearly trying to negotiate with the company president about giving up his ultimate secret Pokeball, the Master Ball, so that he can fix the mistake that he made paying for Mewtwo to be created. At least that's kind of what the fan theory said, isn't it? That Giovanni's ultimate goal was to, like, capture Mewtwo and fix the mistake that he made creating it. We make our way to floor 5 of the building to acquire the card key necessary to navigate this maze-like building, trying not to throw up on the warp panels as we get traded about floor to floor. We normally only have 5 mandatory battles or so to do here against Team Rocket Grunts before the before the rival fight and the boss fight, but because we're using Butterfree and one of the hardest battles is literally right in front of us with rival number 6, I decided to do some extra grinding and take out almost all the rockets I can find in this building. A quick nap before we take on our rival, who again, it has to be brought up, is suspiciously here in a company siege, unpanicked, cracking jokes about Rocket Grunts slowing us down. His Pokemon are also fully healed. I could be reading way too much into this, but I'm nearly sure we're onto something here. The rival starts the battle out with the big bird itself, Pidgeot. It's now level 37. I send out my Butterfree and use Psychic Attack on the first turn, which just does under 50% damage. On the second turn of using Psychic, we get a high roll, taking out the big bird. The next Pokemon sent out is his Execute. It uses Poison Powder, and we use our newly taught Toxic Attack, and then we start to bombard the tasty looking eggs with our Swift to scramble them up real good. It takes 2 hits to take out the Execute because it's set up Reflect. Next up is his ferocious Gyarados, who opens the battle with its clearly cheated in Hydro Pump attack. There's no way that the developers got lazy and used a call function rather than hard-coding in some Pokemon involved in a critical battle. The Gyarados lands a critical hit Hydro Pump, wiping our Butterfree out in 1 hit. Great. After another few attempts, some random grunt grinding, and a couple of rare candies we happen to have lying about, we return to the rival with our now level 50 Butterfree. Again, Pidgeot ends up being a 2-shot with Psychic Attack, like before. We use a couple of double team attacks as well before that to boost our evasion. Thank you, Badge Boost Glitch. But to be honest, the Badge Boost Glitch wasn't our actual goal. Instead, we were trying to reduce the chance of Poison Powder hitting us so we lived longer and have more HP going further into the fight. Execute is up next, and again poisons us the first turn it comes out, even with all our double team evasion boosts. Thank you, Gen 1. We decided to set up a couple more double teams since we're already poisoned, and then blast the Execute with a couple of Psychic attacks, taking it out. Gyarados then comes out next and goes down pretty quickly after our buff boy bug Butterfree unleashes its most powerful Psychic attack ever. We do take a Dragon Rage to the face though in the process. Alakazam comes out next, and now we are worried because we have very low health and we are poisoned, and all our attacks on Butterfree are actually special attacks due to Generation 1's physical special split being based on types. And the Silver Spoon Connoisseur Alakazam that's just come out there has a monstrous special stat. We can only bank on the chance to get the special drop with Psychic while using a Mega Drain here and there to keep our health more stable. We do get the special drop on Alakazam, and eventually we do take it out while only having 15 HP left. Now for the Pokemon I've been dreading. Game Freak's new poster boy, Charizard. If this thing hits us at all, we are screwed. We start the battle out with our strongest attack, Psychic, which does about a third of its health as well as the damage that we take from poison, bringing us down to 7 HP. Charizard tries to fry up our Butterfly, but it majestically dances out of the way of the fiery attack. Thank you, 256 glitch. Now, all we have to do is get a high roll with a critical hit or burn up trying. Butterfree, let's fucking go! And, wouldn't you know it, we actually got the critical hit. Oh hell yeah. And with that, we somehow managed to defeat our rival with 7 HP left, still poisoned, and I don't even know how Butterfree managed it. After the battle, we clearly have impressed the staff member, as I'm sure no one who watched this battle actually believed that a level 50 Butterfree could take out a level 43 Charizard while badly poisoned, only having 7 HP left in 2 hits. So he gives us a super rare, only one in the game, legendary Pokemon Lapras. You know it is. We proceed forward to battle Giovanni's last Rocket Grunt, who's acting as a bodyguard. He puts up about as much of a fight as you'd expect. Even for our Butterfree, this was an easy fight. We were so unconcerned about this grunt battle, we only used 1 super potion and didn't even bother healing the poison we had sustained. We interrupt Giovanni's meeting with the CEO of the Silph Co. so that we could stop him from getting the Master Ball, the world's best Pokeball that guarantees 100% capture rate. Just don't tell him about that Gen 1 potential to make the Master Ball not actually capture a Pokemon. Yay, Gen 1 mechanics. I harp on it, but it's really one of my favorite generations after Gen 2. We don't really have the full story of events that are currently unfolding, so we do what any good 10-year-old Pokemon trainer would do and throw our child-sized butterfly monster into the face of the region's most notorious and dangerous gangster boss. Giovanni starts the battle out with his Nidorino, but 1 psychic attack later and it goes down. Next out comes his Kangaskhan, which can be a real pain in the ass to fight, but luckily 2 psychic attacks were all that was needed to wipe out the Kangaroo. Rhyhorn comes out and goes down just as fast to our Mega Drain attack, letting us heal all the damage Kangaskhan managed to deal to us. And lastly, Giovanni sends out his Nidoqueen, who manages to tank our first psychic attack better than I thought it would, but it only fought back with its Poison Sting attack, a base 15 power attack in Generation 1. And just to remind you all, Giovanni's supposed to be one of the best trainers in the entire Pokemon canon. A second Psychic anyway wipes out and Mind Crushes the Nidoqueen into oblivion, netting us the win. After winning, Giovanni runs away with his grunts from a 10-year-old wielding a child-sized butterfly monster, as we decide to dig our way out of the 11th floor of the skyscraper building. I happened to catch a Gen 1 glitch though as we tried to do this, where I was lucky enough to record our character sprite transforming into letters. Does anyone know what's even happening here? If someone could put in the comments what that glitch is, I'd like to know why or how that happened. We make our way to the Fighting type dojo, formerly known as Saffron City's Fighting type Pokemon Gym, until Sabrina and her Psychic type trainers rolled in and got awarded the position as Saffron City Gym Leader. Well, we're about to do the same thing with our psychically powered Butterfly, and again we refuse to take the trophy Pokemon because we don't need either of them. Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, more like Hitmonwho. We do a bit of item space resource managing at the Pokemon Center and grab the TM for Mimic and buy the TM for Takedown attack before moving on to Sabrina to take on her gym. In Sabrina's room, we approach her ready for the battle, dodging all the trainers in her gym because there's no point in, we don't need the extra EXP at this point. We open the battle with our newly learned Takedown attack, one-shotting her Kadabra. Next up is her Mr. Mime, who's clearly a lot bulkier than Kadabra or even her Alakazam is, so we badly need to poison it right away with Toxic. We eat up a Confusion attack as we hit back with Mega Drain to get some health back before we do any more damage. Mr. Mime sets up Light Screen, which is a problem for maybe later on, but for now we proceed to take down Mr. Mime with another takedown attack. A single Psychic attack is enough to wipe out her Venomoth. She clearly doesn't understand how to use her Monster Moth like we do with our Monster Butterfly. Finally, Sabrina's level 43 Alakazam comes out, and then it goes down to a single takedown just like the rest of the Psychic-type Pokemon she owns. I knew Psychic-type Pokemon were frail, but I kind of expected it to live at least one takedown attack from a Butterfly. Well, whatever. We dig out of her gym and then fly all the way to Pallet Town so we can surf the Cinnabar Island. We immediately, upon disembarking off our Pokemon, proceed to buy some max repels from the Pokemart to ward off any future encounters so we don't get slowed down by them, and heal up our Pokemon also at the local Pokemon Center while we're at it. Nothing really of importance happened in the Secret Mansion or Abandoned Mansion or whatever you call it. We also located the two rare candies that were in the Secret Mansion, one lying around one of the rooms and the other hidden, located near a tree in the room that the secret key is located in. For a change, the Blaine fight is actually a scary fight, as Fire-type Pokemon can wreak havoc on our poor little Butterfly. We got lucky with Charizard, but we're not going to get that lucky again. Entering the gym, we try to answer the first quiz question about Caterpie and Butterfree. We assume we know everything about the Pokemon because we started with Butterfree, only to get it wrong, because we remember that we actually started with Butterfree. We actually don't know anything about Caterpie at this stage. Well, either way, this battle will make for good EXP and give us an idea where our Butterfree stacks in this gym. We decide to try and skip the other gym trainers who all seem suspiciously like burglars. I'm sure it's nothing, and I don't want to risk our time being drawn out due to not having any super effective attacks to deal with the other Fire-type Pokemon they may have. Anyways, upon making it to Blaine, we immediately start our gym battle. He sends out the good boy Pokemon Growlithe. We use a couple of attacks to take out the Pokemon as we tank an Ember attack really well, surprisingly. Next out is My Little Ponyta, Kanto edition, and again it's a 2-shot, but it does manage to trap us in Gen 1 Fire Spin for a couple of turns. But we still have plenty of health left. Rapidash is out next, and obviously it's far faster than our child-sized Butterfly, except somehow our Butterfree is way faster than the Fire Unicorn, depicted in the Pokédex that it's able to run at 150 miles per hour. Are we sure that we're fact-checking this Pokédex as the kids enter these entries? Well, whatever. We proceed to use Psychic Attack on the Unicorn, and we avoid the Fire Spin, having already experienced it once, and Butterfree clearly didn't want to taste it for a second time. It blasts the Rapidash another 2 times to take it down with Psychic. Lastly is Blaine's Arcanine. It tanks our first Psychic, but gets hit by a critical hit on the second. It managed to get our Butterfree down to 8 HP as we finish off the big good boy Pokemon with another Psychic attack. I'll admit it, in this run I kinda forgot to head to the Seafoam Islands right away instead of going for our 8-gym battle. But don't worry, we'll make our way across the legendary birds and wipe them out after this. Again, this will hopefully be the only time we deviate from the path set forward. Giovanni starts the battle out with his Rhyhorn. A minor inconvenience as a single Mega Drain sucks the life out of the Rock Rhino. Dugtrio is out next and actually lives the first Mega Drain attack, but clearly it is already scared of the child-sized Butterfly, and all it can do is growl at as Butterfree continues to drain the life out of it with Mega Drain. The Queen's up next and Psychic one-shots her. The King comes out next and shares the same fate as Nidoqueen. Finally, up last is Giovanni's Rhydon, which Butterfree also drains the life out of with Mega Drain, wiping out this gym. This was possibly the easiest gym battle we've ever had, so much for Giovanni being the best trainer. Following the gym battle, we make our way after healing out towards the Indigo Plateau, only to be stopped along the way by our rival. He wants a rematch, which we proceed to actually lose so many times that it's not even worth showing all the battles. It left me with only one option. We had to go and grind Butterfree all the way up to level 74, just to try and stand a chance in this here one battle before the Pokemon League. I do not like my odds at this point against the whole Elite Four. Well, now that we're at level 74, we move on to the rival battle. Here we go again, as our rival wants a warm-up battle before the Pokemon League. He opens the battle with his level 47 Pidgeot, and it goes down to a critical hit Psychic attack. We hit his level 45 Rhyhorn with our super effective Mega Drain attack, one-shotting it, healing back the damage that Pidgeot had done to us. Execute comes out next and hits us with a Poison Powder, and then we try to take it down to scramble them eggs. Unfortunately, Butterfree's attack stats kinda really bad, so it struggles to do so and requires at least 2 shots of takedown before the eggs go over easy. Gyarados is out for blood as we get a lucky roll as we survive its Hydro Pump attack right out of the gate. We go all out, blasting the Water Onix with our Psychic attacks, managing to get the special stat drop on it, letting our following attack finish it off in the next hit. With its spoons sharpened, Alakazam comes out but fails to predict that the child-sized monster Butterfly would ram into its fragile body, similar to what happened to Sabrina's Alakazam, and take out the Psychic Wonder. His Charizard takes flight as it comes out of its Pokeball. We finally have a run where we made it to the overgrown Fire Lizard. We also have around 50% of our max HP left, so we're in pretty good shape. Our first Psychic attack actually takes the Charizard down to under 50% of its HP, and we somehow managed to live a Flamethrower to the face. Come on, Blue. You had the type advantage, but we live it anyway, and we do take this opportunity to Mind Crush the Fire Lizard into oblivion with another Psychic attack. With that, the rival's finally been defeated. I don't even know how many times I lost that fight, but anyway. We start to make our way towards the Pokemon League, showing off our badges that we earned along the way, making sure to pick up the hidden Max Ether along the way as well. Victory Road's simple enough with Max Repels, and we pick up the rare candy we find lying in the corner of a cold, dark cave filled with exploding rock monsters. I always wondered. Oh well. I make my way around the static Moltres encounter as well. Moltres is an interesting encounter. Out of the 3 legendary birds, for a change, this fire duck is actually somewhat of a threat to our poor little Butterfly, who's weak to both fire and flying types. We blast Moltres with our first Psychic attack, only for the fire duck to blast us back with Fire Spin, trapping us in place for a few turns before we can unleash more than 2% of our Psychic power and take out the fire duck. We make our way out of Victory Road and start trying to hatch a plan on how to take out the Elite Four. We stock up on items like full restores, deposit our HM workers who've done an exceptional job getting us places. And that is until we finally remember. Something's not right. Like, I can't remember what I'd said earlier. Oh shit. I forgot the legendary bird Pokemon. Shit. Get the HM workers back out, get them back out. Articuno is the next legendary bird Pokemon on our Butterfree's hit list. Although it's not an easy target to take down, its typing, ice and flying means our attacks are going to be doing neutral damage or just plain ineffective. We open the battle with our Psychic attack, which takes away about a third of the health from the bird. As it fights back with Peck, our second Psychic attack doesn't even take it out and gets to land on us a super effective Ice Beam attack. Luckily we're not frozen and we take out the Ice Bird the next turn with 3% of our Psychic power. Now all that's left of the 3 legendary bird Pokemon is to get to Zapdos. Zapdos is a scary foe for a lot of Pokemon in Generation 1 due to the power that comes from its unique dual typing, being electric flying type. The battle opens with our child-sized Butterfly somehow outspeeding the massive Thunderbird, landing a pretty decent Psychic attack on it. Zapdos responds with its Drill Peck attack for massive damage. Similarly to the Articuno fight, our Butterfree falls short in taking out the Zapdos with its second blast of Psychic power, but It lands its last drill peck on us as our next psychic wipes the bird completely out. Being at level 74 is probably helping this fight an awful lot. And finally, with all the legendary bird Pokemon in the region now defeated, that just leaves us with the Pokemon League to get through. We make our way back to the Pokemon League Indigo Plateau, deposit our HM workers and thank them for doing some last minute work for us, as we start to make preparations needed to be ready for whatever the Elite Four will throw at us. The first battle is against Lorelei. She uses a combination of Ice, Water, and Psychic Pokemon. Although her specialty is supposed to be Ice-type Pokemon. Almost got her mixed up for Will for whatever reason. I'm hoping that with Butterfree and its Mega Drain attack, and its somewhat okay special, we'll have somewhat of an easy time against her compared to the previous Squirtle run. It's not likely, but I'm hoping. Dewgong comes out first and takes 3 blasts of Mega Drain before it actually goes down. Cloyster's up next, and similarly to the Dewgong, the AI keeps trying to blast our Butterfree with Aurora Beams. It puts up just as much of a fight as the Dewgong did, but we blasted with Psychic. Next up is Slowbro, and we start with the good old-fashioned Mimic strategy. I start to set up Amnesias after we've mimicked it, and a single powered up Mega Drain attack's all it's needed to wipe out Slowbro and heal us up pretty decently. Jinx comes out next, and we miss our takedown attack and get socked right in the face by Jinx's Ice Punch attack. We continue to be clobbered by Jinx's Ice Punches as we keep trying to take it out with takedown. Once it goes down, out comes Lorelei's ace Pokemon, Lapras. It lives her first Mega Drain as it tries to freeze Assault with its Blizzard attack. We live that and survive not being frozen to finish off the Transport Pokemon with our Psychic Power. Between battles, we use a full restore and a couple of Ethers to get our Butterfree back up and ready for the next battle, which is against Bruno, so it shouldn't be too bad. Unlike Lorelei, Bruno is arguably the weakest of the Elite Four members, using a combination of Fighting and Rock type Pokemon. His specialty is meant to be Fighting types, but for whatever reason they give him 2 Onix instead of Primate and Poliwrath. Maybe they're just a joke to Game Freak. Most special attacking Pokemon tend to wreck his team with very little difficulty, so Butterfree shouldn't have too much trouble here. His Rock Gyarados comes out first, a non-fighting type Pokemon, and goes down very quickly to a Mega Drain. The Punching Fiend comes out next, putting its fists up ready for an all-out brawl against our Butterfree, only for it to play a Mind Trick on it with Psychic Attack, blasting it to the Shadow Realm. Next up's the Kicking Fiend, who will be sharing the same fate as its Punching Brelorin, as Psychic Attack wipes it out too. The second Rock Gyarados comes out, and for whatever reason Bruno chose to use it, I don't know. Anyway, it goes down to a single Mega Drain, same as the first. The 4-Arm Wonder is sent out to battle our overgrown Butterfly, thinking that its Fighting Power S will be enough to take us out. It is true the Pokédex entries do say it can blow away mountains with a single punch, but its fancy martial arts mean nothing to our Butterfree Psychic Power. Moving on from this embarrassing mess of a battle that Bruno just performed on, maybe they should get someone different in to be an Elite Four member. Anyway, maybe he'll do better against the next Pokemon we decide to do the solo run with as well. You know, maybe Bruno's just had a couple of bad matchups. We'll see in the next video after we finish this one. Agatha is actually the trickiest of the Elite Four members to deal with since she specializes in Ghost-type Pokemon. But arguably she's more of a Poison-type Pokemon specialist considering the Golbat and Arbok on her team. First up is her first Gengar. This spooky ghost comes out and gets quickly blasted by Psychic from our overgrown Butterfly, as it shows it ain't scared of no Ghost-type Pokemon. It manages to live the first hit and go down the second hit. Golbat comes out next. Has anyone ever wondered how scary a Golbat would be to encounter in real life? Like, it's literally a 5-foot 3-inch bat with most of its body being made up by its mouth, and I bet its wingspan has to be nearly, like 8 feet for it to even fly. But yeah, Golbat goes down to a single Psychic Attack, so maybe it's not so impressive. Haunter's out next, and because it isn't a fully evolved Pokemon, goes down to a single Psychic attack, and then Agatha sends out her Arbok, another surprisingly long Pokemon at 11 foot 6 inches. Terrifying. Again, its mental fortitude is as good as the other poison Pokemon she has, and it goes down to a single Psychic attack. Her final ghost comes out from the shadows to do battle. If it uses Confuse Ray to confuse our poor Butterfree, but our Butterfree does the unexpected and fights through its confusion, blasting the spooky ghost with its Psychic attack, one-shotting it, and sending the ghost back to the Shadow Realm from which it came. What a really, really lucky Agatha fight. We heal up our HP and our PP and prepare to go forward to battle Lance. Let's do this. Lance is the flying type specialist of the Elite Four. Dragon type. He's definitely a dragon type specialist. And Lance is potentially the most dangerous out of the Elite Four because his Pokemon tend to have high attack stats with high attack powered moves. Lance opens the battle with his level 58 Water Onix. Unlike the other Pokemon we've fought in the Elite Four so far, not counting Lorelei, Gyarados can actually take a number of attacks from us. We open the battle with our Psychic attack, only to be blasted by Hyper Theme. We live and get off another Psychic attack, taking out the Psionics. With Lance's first Dragonair, we mimic its Agility attack. Once we've obtained that attack, we spam the hell out of it as much as we can before we start our Psychic Assault on the rest of Lance's flying type Pokemon. The second Dragonair comes out and lives our first Psychic attack with what seems like 1 HP. Lance then uses a Hyper Potion, somehow predicting this turn of events. Okay, maybe this guy's cheating. I'm keeping my eye on you, Lance. We take down the Dragonair to be met with Lance's next Pokemon, Aerodactyl. With only 87 HP left, we're prepared for the worst, blasting the Aerodactyl with a super powered Psychic attack, and the Aerodactyl actually goes down in our next attack. Our Butterfree levels up as his final Pokemon, Dragonite, comes out. We try blasting it with our Psychic attack, only for it to live the hit, unlike the other Pokemon he's used so far, since our Badge Boost. It tries to use its Hyper Beam, only for it to fail to do so, and our second Psychic attack lands, taking the dragon out. And with that, all that's left now is the champion. To be on the safe side, we used the last of our rare candies to get our Butterfree all the way up to level 82. There's been too many close calls in the battle so far, and I may as well use up what I have left. The second final fight of this entire challenge run is before us, our rival Standing Lair, champion of the Kanto region. We can't let that be. We're about to take his throne and title away with him with a single Butterfree. Pidgeot comes out first and gets taken down by a critical hit Psychic attack, although I'm unsure whether or not we actually needed the critical hit, but I'll take it just the same. We use the takedown attack on Alakazam, who tries to counter us with its own Psychic attack, but a second takedown takes it out completely. That is getting difficult to say real fast. Rhydon comes out next. We mimic to steal its Horn Drill attack and then Mega Drain the Rhino like we did all the other ground type Pokemon to this point, for all of its health, healing us up completely. His now fully evolved Executor comes out, and as it comes out, we immediately try to hit it with our newly learned Horn Drill attack. It lands on the first attempt. Nice. Gyarados is no sooner out to be our next Horn Drill victim as we land the Horn Drill on the Water Onix. Finally, his Charizard makes its entrance into the battle. We outspeed the Fire Dragon with our physically powered Butterfly and try to take it out with our Horn Drill, but end up missing. Charizard retaliates with a Fire Spin, trapping us for a couple of turns. Once we're free, Butterfree summons up the imaginary horn and launches itself again at the Charizard, landing the crucial Horn Drill attack, knocking the wannabe Fire Lizard out in one hit. We did it. We won the battle, we have become the champion, and Professor Oak appears out of nowhere to congratulate us and completely ignore his grandson. You know, like he has done in the rest of the game. We entered the Hall of Fame of the Indigo Plateau as the Kanto region's champion with only a Butterfree. We did this part in 4 hours, 37 minutes, and that is freaking crazy. We almost did it as fast as we did the Squirtle run. I'm guessing being a fully evolved Pokemon helped, but ultimately Squirtle's move pool and versatility is probably what won out the times between the two Pokemon we've done so far. Judging from this, whenever we get around to Wartortle or Blastoise, we should expect to see them outpace and be better than Squirtle. Now let's look forward to those runs. We still have one more challenge to complete now that the credits are finished rolling and the thank yous have been given out before our Butterfree can call this run truly complete. Now this upcoming battle was one of the hardest battles that we've faced with Squirtle last time, and I'm curious how well Butterfree will do. We navigate ourselves to Cerulean City for one last time, and with our notoriety we gain access into the most dangerous cave of all of Kanto. We traverse the maze to find the Pokemon that was written about in the notes in Cinnabar Island. Mewtwo, the artificially created Pokemon, aka the clone of Mew. After a bit more grinding, we are ready. Our level 88 Butterfree, the world's most powerful Butterfree to this game, against the world's most powerful Pokemon in canon, a level 70 Mewtwo. A quick save beside the beast and the battle begins. Surprisingly, our Butterfree outpaces the genetic monstrosity as it rams it with our takedown attack. After tanking several swift attacks later on, we finally take down the monster that is Mewtwo after this battle of attrition. And surprisingly, Butterfree had an easier time in this fight than what Squirtle did. Then again, Butterfree's at a much higher level than Squirtle was. And with that we've done it. Mewtwo's no more. We have beat the game with just a Butterfree. We defeated Mewtwo and we've completed the entire game within 4 hours and 45 minutes. Simply awesome. For such a basic bug type Pokemon, it did really well. The access to Psychic and other Psychic type attacks is what really saved this Pokemon from struggling too much in the run. Our Butterfree stats at the end are level 88, 248 HP, 141 attack, 148 defense, 177 speed, 175 special. Our final moveset is Psychic, Mimic, Takedown, and Mega Drain. Throughout this challenge run attempt, I've been tracking a few different things that I want to use as a way to track which Pokemon's truly the best of the best as of this generation and each generation, and which generation treated which Pokemon the best. And these are the questions I truly do want to answer for myself, and it's more fun to do this for myself as I enjoy looking at all the statistics. All the following information and statistics will be popping up on screen for yourselves to help visualize it, rather than looking at the straight up numbers. So the first thing I tracked for this run, by continuously rewatching the footage, yay, was the win, draw, loss rate of our Butterfree, taking resets into account. But first, for corrections of the last video. So since the last video, I've updated my methodology in tracking the data and in calculating the ELO score, or it's not truly an ELO score, but it's a score to help quantify the Pokemon's ranking. All Pokemon start with a base score of 1000, similar to how ELO scores would work. A list of how ELO scores will be altered can be found on Discord if it is requested, to explain it in more detail. So starting back with Squirtle, after reviewing the footage again, I've determined that in fact he only took part in 173 battles, making our Squirtle's win rate a whopping 62% with 107 wins. Our loss rate is 38% with 66 losses, meaning Squirtle's new ELO score is 7,573. Much more impressive sounding. Next is Butterfree. Butterfree took part in only 153 battles, a lot less than Squirtle. It won 117 of them, losing 36 of the rest of the battles, which is way better than Squirtle's scores. This gives Butterfree 76% win rate and a 24% loss rate, which is better than Squirtle. This is probably because we started with better stats at the start and didn't need to level up as fast. And level up groups probably have something to do with this as well. Butterfree ends up with the ELO score of 7,611, which is just a fraction better than Squirtle. Overall, I would say my Butterfree did pretty well, and honestly, I think if I had optimized the movesets a bit earlier in the mid-game, I could have done this run much faster than I did, but we want to take it from the first attempt, because I'm sure if I kept redoing the attempts, I could get better times for each. I know I made a few mistakes on how quickly I taught new attacks to Butterfree, but who knows? Maybe you who are watching think you can do better than me. Well then, this is my challenge to you, similar to the Squirtle run. Try a Butterfree only run yourselves, post your times in the comments below. If you can join the Discord, links in the description, and post your videos there, or link your video on YouTube or whatever. Even field attempts or whatever, because as a community it's important to grow together. Stay tuned for more in the future, Pokemon fans, and see you next time when we try to burn up the competition.